Hello and very warm welcome to Transition 2019 and the New Agenda, a special program where Arise News brings you up-to-the-minute coverage on the latest socio-political and economic trends with context and perspective on the most important issues happening in the country and even beyond. I am Christian Ogodo. Thanks for joining us. And coming up in the next 60 minutes, top-notch comments and analysis with unrivaled insight, hindsight and foresight into Transition 2019, including Justice Walter Onnoghen turns in his letter of retirement. Now this comes a day after the National Judicial Council recommended that he should be compulsorily retired for misconduct. The Election Petition Tribunal has received 736 petitions against the conduct and outcome of the 2019 general elections, says that's what it has received so far. Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Walter Onnoghen, has turned in his notice of retirement to President Muhammadu Buhari a day after the National Judicial Council (NJC) recommended that he be retired for misconduct. The National Judicial Council says it decided to refrain from considering the allegation that Justice Onnoghen failed to declare his assets, saying it will amount to sub judice since the issue is still before the tribunal. And we recall that Justice Onnoghen has been on trial at the Code of Conduct Tribunal of alleged non-declaration of his assets. He was suspended by President Muhammadu Buhari on the 23rd January 2019. A document from the Election Petitions Tribunal located in the premises of the Court of Appeal in Abuja has revealed that 736 petitions against the conduct and outcome of the 2019 general elections have so far been received as at April 4th. The document, which emanated from the Office of the Deputy Chief Registrar, Election Petitions Tribunal, shows that the petition cuts across all levels of the 2019 elections, with the State House of Assembly elections leading the pack with 381 petitions, while the presidential election so far has 4. The figures further revealed that the tribunals have received 207 petitions against the outcome of the senatorial elections. A total of 101 and 43 petitions have so far been recorded against the House of Representatives and governorship elections, respectively. And the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal has given the People's Democratic Movement candidate Aminchi Habu permission to serve his petition on President Buhari through the All Progressives Congress. Mr. Habu is challenging the declaration of Buhari as a winner of the February 23rd election on the grounds that the Independent National Electoral Commission excluded his party's name from the ballot paper. PDM's lawyer made the application due to his inability to effect personal service on the president because of security surrounding his office. PDM can now serve the petition on Buhari through the APC at his national headquarters in Abuja. Well, for more on these, I am now being joined by Sonnie Chukumele, who is the president of Global Initiative for Leadership Success, and also with me is a senior advocate of Nigeria, a pro-democracy activist and rights activist, Mike Ozekhome, SAN. Gentlemen, very warm appreciation for being with us.
Thank you very much.
It's a new dawn, a new agenda on Transition 2019. Mike, let me ask you first. The retirement notice served by Chief Justice Walter Onnoghen, is it coming to you as a surprise? Has it taken the entire judiciary, off guard?
Well, some other people may be surprised, certainly not Mike Ozekhome, because I predicted this. I said this in January when this issue broke out. I knew that Onnoghen would be mob lynched. I wasn't deceived. Under Section 306, subsection 1 of the Constitution, Justice Onnoghen has just done what some people will say is honorable. But I can assure you, and I can say this categorically, he was haunted and hounded out of his seat by certain powers that be. And you don't run a country like that. You don't run a country in which the judiciary is subjected to the jackboots and gumboot rulership of the executive, in which the National Assembly is subjected to the jackboot and military dictatorship of the executive, in which the media, which under Section 22 of the Constitution is to hold government accountable and responsible to the people, is held under jackboot and under dictatorship. You don't run a system in which virile opposition, different voices are silenced by brute force, by the sheer power of absolutism and dictatorship. What Onnoghen's matter portends for the country is simply this: that once the executive wants to have its way, it must have its way. That strikes terror in the minds of the judges who are to dispense justice, because like the sword of Damocles, they will be wondering what next. What has been done is not in accordance with the rule of law. It's not in accordance with the doctrine of the separation of powers. And I'm afraid that Nigeria is being turned more and more into a sectional country. Can't these people feel the heat? Can't they smell it? Can't they sense it? Can't they feel it? Can't they touch it? Can't they hear it?
But the NJC, the National Judicial...
Just a moment, just this point, that as of today, with the forcible exit of Justice Walter Onnoghen, what it means is that the entire three arms of government, the executive is led by Mr. President from the north, the legislature is led by Dr. Bukola Saraki from the north central, the bicameral aspect of it, which is the House of Representatives, is led by Dogara, who is from the north. The president of the Court of Appeal is led by the north. The president of the Federal High Court, or the chief judge of the Federal High Court, is led by the north. Now the Chief Justice of Nigeria that is coming is again now led by the north. That is a total northernization of Nigeria, as if we're in the Federal Republic of the North or in the Northern Republic of Nigeria. It is not done. The entire security apparatus in this country, from the Inspector General of Police to the minister, to the Chief of Army Staff, to the Chief of Air Staff, to the National Security Advisor, to the Acting Chairman, EFCC, to the Director General of DSSS, to NIA, to DIA, to the Chief of Staff, to the President. Every single available important position in Nigeria has been occupied by the North.
I just want to
that
quickly...
does not give encouragement to unity that has eluded Nigeria since January 1, 1914, when Lord Lugard forcibly amalgamated the Northern and Southern Protectorates.
I want to quickly just take your mind back to the submission of the NJC's recommendation.
Yes.
Only 24 hours ago.
Yes.
And the recommendation, is very straightforward.
Yes.
That Walter Onnoghen should be retired compulsorily.
Yes.
Because he has a matter pending in court right now.
Yes.
Wouldn't that be said to be auspicious?
So the NJC suddenly woke up from its deep slumber. It has suddenly woken up from its deep slumber. There were two people tangling in this matter. Onnoghen and then the acting CGN were both in it. If the NJC can say they will not touch Onnoghen with a 10-foot pole on the issue of non-declaration of access, because the matter is currently before the Code of Conduct Tribunal. How come they are touching Onnoghen? Because of mere allegations by the EFCC, which is even weaker. These are mere allegations that under Section 36 of the Constitution, which presumes the innocence of a person, have not yet been proven. At the Nigerian criminal justice system, I never tire of saying this, whether they hear it or not, is Anglo-Saxon based, which means it is accusatorial. The innocence of a person is presumed. It is not the French model, which is inquisitorial, where the guilt of a person is presumed. So what they have forced Onnoghen to do now is to say, yes, I am guilty, or you are guilty before you have even been charged. Because they are saying he has not yet been charged with the offenses of this allegation made by EFCC, for which they have now recommended that he be retired by Mr. President. Hello, Chris Ogodo. You know what the CCT is doing? He says, when they were queried, they said, oh, we are not a part and parcel of the judiciary. They were right. Because if you check Section 6 of the 1999 Constitution, you will never see the CCT as a court of superior jurisdiction. He said, we are with the executive, with the presidency. Now, this is an aberration, an abnormal situation where the person that administers justice is controlled not by the judiciary that is in charge of justice delivery under Section 6 of the Constitution, but by the executive under Section 5 that is supposed to carry out those. So we are having the case of the bat. The bat is hybrid. When it comes to animals, and it's with the animal kingdom, he will say, hello, I'm one of you. They say, why do you think you are one of us? Say, look at my teeth, look at my ears, and look at my mammary glands. I have breasts, mammary glands like other animals. So I'm one of you. If I look at my claws, then he goes to the birds. I say, hello, do you know I'm one of you? The bird said, no, we just saw you with animals. How can you be one of us? He said, let's take a flight. I will even fly higher than you because I can fly. Because I have wings. I am a bird. So the CCT is telling Nigerians that it is a hermaphrodite. It's neither
for the judiciary nor for the executive.
But
it
more
banters to
for
the
the
executive.
So that is the danger.
Okay.
That is why there is serious need for serious constitutional reforms of the position of the CCT in Nigeria.
Okay, and that's why we have the transition 2019 where agenda can be set.
Agenda setting.
Absolutely.
It's a great program.
Thank you very much. Chief Sonnie Chukumele, he has raised certain, interrogation about the present leadership structure in Nigeria. And as the president of Global Initiative for Leadership Success, how far and how well is the present Nigerian leadership succeeding?
Well, I think that when it comes to that, to me and to many Nigerians, we are not achieving as a country the expectations of the people. Why have I said this? At the time when the present administration was elected, I happened to be a supporter of General Buhari since 1984 because of his stance as a strict disciplinarian. I like discipline.
I'm sure that stance, Mike Ozekhome is going to be at variance
with
it, because since 1984, when he became, head of state, Mike has always been on the street with the late Chief Gani Fahimi and others.
Oh yes, Thank you very much. Chief Mike Ozekhome happened to be one of those Nigerians who want Nigeria catapulted to where America and France is, and Canada.
And you don't think that
I am gradualist, because we are coming from a climb. Even though that we want to be and practice what America, Britain, and France and the rest, Canada and all those developed, climes are, we have a culture coming from a background of African culture. Now, on leadership, you can never produce what you are not. We have thrown so many spanners. This constitution here have been desecrated so terribly by governments.
And even with the one being headed by the man you admire so much.
Exactly. And when it comes to that, I think that the problem the man has today presently are his managers. His managers are not managing him well, for crying out loud.
And he is not seeing that?
Oh, well.
If you are a father and your children are not doing well, do you turn a blind eye to it?
Well, it depends on...
Don't you have a way of assessing their performances?
It depends on your personality. For instance, let me remind us. The elections just finished. And there is... You know why I like the president? In some areas, it's not as if a couple of things that happened where I have criticized him. We finished elections or during the pre-whatever. And he said, look, in APC, in this party, people have right to go to court. True or false? He said it openly. People have rights to go to court. And so people in the party, his party that has...
It's only accentuating, a constitutional provision,
Oh,
the
yeah.
rights of the individual.
But he also could have been silent on that. Right now, another aberration is rearing its head.
With the suspension of the Chief Justice of Nigeria.
So, with the process leading to the suspension.
You blame that squarely on his Attorney General and not him who took the decision?
I think holistically all of them are now
it's
in
a
that
collective
yes,
responsibility
it's collective
here.
now. And also on the issue...
Don't worry,
now
Mike, you're going to have your time.
We're also coming to the National Assembly. Of course, Chief Mike mentioned when, the way the executive have mishandled the National Assembly and the judiciary. I don't like it. Whatever that has to be done must be done properly. For instance, elections are finished. The party chairman of APC comes up to say, this is the position of the party. We have chosen one man from here, we have chosen one man from here. And if you also look at the way that the party APC have laid out the distribution of their offices, it looks, I don't want to use the word fraudulent. It looks bad because some sections of our country are being shut out. You don't shut out people in a democratic setting as we have today.
So it negates even what the president said after his victory for his re-election, that his government is going to be an inclusive one.
That is why I lay the blame on his handlers. The vice president of this country today is an erudite professor of law.
So by the time you weigh that with, you said the Chief Justice of Nigeria, who has tendered his letter, is being hounded.
He's being hounded because how can you, in any sane clime, that the Code of Conduct Tribunal, that is a parastatal under the office of the Attorney General, become a special vehicle to carry out this particular act, which is
ultra biased,
procedurally wrong.
Yeah.
That is where I come.
Okay, I want to bring in Chief Ozekhome again. Those who even sympathize with Justice Walter Onnoghen would be concluding now that he was hasty in submitting a letter of retirement. This still has 2 years, to go. He's only 68, and I know at 70 they retire or depend. No, let me just quickly land so that you get me, in real perspective. That he has acted hastily, as if, he's known the outcome of what the tribunal, case is going to be. Why is he not allowing the law to take its due process?
Which law? Law that has taken flight and is hiding under the mat, under the carpet.
Let
me start by disagreeing with my brother here. For too long, we live in self-denial. We continue to say, it's not Mr. President. It's the cabal. It's people around him. Let such people read the immortal words of ex-American President Harry Truman. He said the buck stops here. Yeah. On the table of all my offices, the first thing you see on the table is the buck stops here. When a client briefs me, he came to brief me because he trusts me. He has confidence in me. He has faith in my capacity and ability to deliver. Who am I? Does he lie in my mouth to tell the client that, oh, you see, I gave it to lawyer A or lawyer B, who now did your job wrong? He does not lie in my mouth. I take full responsibility, warts and all, branches, root, and stem of anything that goes on in my system. That is why I insist, for example, that every letter, every court process that is done in my system, wherever I am in any part of the world, I must vet it so that I can speak to it and take full responsibility. So I don't agree. On this issue, whether what Onnoghen was hasting in throwing the towel, I said no. He knows, and I have said this in January when this matter started, the abnormality with which the case was handled. A case that was fast-forwarded within 48 hours, the charge were filed, not even by the rightful person. Section 24 of the CCB and CCT Act says it should be the Attorney General. It wasn't him. Section 3D of the Code of Conduct Bureau and Code of Conduct Tribunal Act says where you admit that you have made mistake in your declaration, unlike the usual judicial refrain of ignorantia juris non excusat, which means ignorance of the law is no excuse. Section 3D of the CCB CCT Act actually makes ignorance of the law the greatest excuse you can have. They did not follow that. There were 4 court orders against the tribunal from sitting. The CCT say will not obey them. Yeah. Then the cases moved to the Court of Appeal.
They are still pending.
They are still pending, and they were argued more than 4 weeks ago. Yeah. Judgment has not been delivered, as if it was carefully choreographed so that something will happen. Under sections 153, 158, 291, 292(1) of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, including the 3rd schedule, parts A and B, section 21, it is clear that it is actually the NJC from day one that had jurisdiction to look into the case of Walter Onnoghen.
Why did they sleep on that?
That was what I said.
So why did they sleep on it?
He had no business.
But he is the chairman of the NJC, so he couldn't have been a judge in his own case.
Nemo Judex.
A judge advocate, definitely.
So all that happened was that they had to recuse him so that another person could take over. But then all these sections.
And who took over now? A former classmate of the president, as we're told.
No, it's not. the act is CJN?
No.
Justice Mohammed, former president of the Court of Appeal.
Yeah.
I do not want to go into the politics of it. And I also don't always like to discuss the internal affairs of political parties, because as a lawyer, I handle many of these cases.
Absolutely.
But let me tell you,
from both sides.
Yes. Oh, I have many. I handle cases for APC. I handle for PDP because I'm a thoroughbred professional. But let me say this: Nigerians are docile. Nigerians are cowards. Let me not generalize by saying all Nigerians. Many or most. The goat bites. A lot of people do not know that. If you doubt it, pursue a goat to the wall. It will turn around and bite you, and bite worse than a dog. But the average Nigerian, do you know what happens? he should pursue him or her to the wall rather than turn around to face the aggressor. He would rather put down the wall to jump over it. On the 15th of March, 2007, in Pakistan, President Pervez Musharraf forcibly removed the then Chief Justice, Mohammed Chaudhry.
Yeah.
The entire lawyers,
Pakistan came to a standstill.
they came to a standstill. They went on the streets.
Yeah.
For months, they grounded the entire judiciary until the return of the Chief Justice was forced and he came back to his throne. But in Nigeria, once you do like this, because of everybody wants comfort, they start running under the table.
So Justice Walter Onnoghen too has demonstrated just what you're saying.
That is not what he has demonstrated.
Is it avoiding? Is it averting a crisis in the judiciary or in the system, in the entire system?
What he has done,
yeah,
he knows that the game plan was paint him, splash him with the tar, with the tar brush of odium, of obloquy, of shame, of derision, so that he will not be fit and proper to still hold that position again, even if he were to win the court matter. He knew they have succeeded in doing that. He who is already on the ground fears no further falling. So since Section 306, subsection 1 of the Constitution, allows him to resign, he has done the proper thing by resigning his appointment. People are different. If I were in his shoes, it may probably be different. People have their different reasons. He has seen where they are going to, and they have succeeded in achieving their aim. They answered. In fact, what they did was to walk from answer to question, rather than from question to the answer. Haven't done that. What was left for him to wait? What are the charges? Operating a foreign account? Did you not hear the evidence? That the accounts are domiciled in Wuse 2, Abuja? Is that foreign? Is your domiciliary account in Nigeria a foreign? So all these were simulated as a smoke screen, as a veneer.
Why would that,
to paint him?
Why would that? I mean, why would that be done?
Oh.
Is it what are the reasons? For that?
I said it in January, and I want to repeat it. Onnoghen was too independent. He was leading a terribly independent arm of government, the judiciary, that did not kowtow to the executive and was not cowed by the executive. Now, the presidency was not comfortable with that. That this man was too independent-minded, was too single-minded, and he was doing justice according to law and administering law according to justice. They didn't like that. I said it in January. In fact, in January, I predicted that what they will do eventually, just Google Michael Onnoghen. You see what I said in January, that they will force him out at the end of the day. And that's what they have done. So it's not a voluntary resignation that is like a picnic at Badagry Beach or Kuramo Beach. It was done inside the oven, inside heat. And that is unfortunate for this country. So
and they've succeeded. You think they've succeeded?
I don't think they have succeeded.
Do you think the judiciary in Nigeria is decimated with this?
Well, let us watch and see. It's like one finger pointing.
I know
what is happening.
Yes, I know you are appearing in one of the presidential elections petitions matters. Do you still have confidence in the Nigerian judiciary?
I wouldn't discuss that at all.
Do you still have confidence in the Nigerian judiciary?
All I need to say, I wouldn't discuss that at all. Because
I'm not asking you to discuss the matter in court, but do you, I mean, as a very senior lawyer, Michael Ozekhome,
yes,
still have confidence in the Nigerian judiciary?
What I would rather say is to commend to the judiciary that symbol of a blindfolded woman blindfolded because it cannot see color, race, religion, tribe, or power. Deaf because the clock covers the ear. It is deaf to the blaring sirens of power. And then you know what? He told the scales. The scale is a symbol of justice. It balances it to see to which side it weighs. That's why you call it preponderance of evidence or probability. Yeah. Then it is carrying the sword to hack down injustice. I would rather tell the judiciary, fear justice here. Do justice to all manners of people. Even if the heavens fall, I'd call it, and the heavens will never fall.
Okay, the heavens will never fall.
Will never fall.
Yeah, Michael Ozekhome.
The heavens will never fall.
Gentlemen, we'll just take a short break, and when we return, we'll look more, at the implications of the developing trends in the nation's judiciary with the resignation of Justice Walter Onnoghen, and then look at agenda setting for the government from May 2019. You're still watching this Transition 2019, and plenty more still ahead. Stay with us.